central to the youth to express themselves is one of our goals here on New World News. That is why we bring to your screen the Youth Circle, a 30-minute instructive and educative talk show. Lovely viewers, you're welcome to the first episode of the Youth Circle here on New World News with me, Princess McAfee. For this first show, we are going to talk about a very important topic. But before that, you can follow the Youth Circle playlist on New World TV and on YouTube. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. The topic we are discussing today is about employment, the challenges of starting a job just right after graduation. With me today are three amazing people. I'll give them the floor to present themselves. I'll start with my left.
Okay.
With the ladies first.
Chai.
So I'll go with EJ.
Hello.
Esther Nwadike.
Is the way she pronounce it? So Nwadike. Hello everybody. My name is Esther EJ Nwadike. I'm the host for the Lifestyle Show. Yeah. So that's it.
Jerry.
Today I'm not called a boss. Luckily she's not the one.
Exactly.
So my name is Jerry Etona Matiobe. I'm a journalist and a producer, equally a presenter for the Keep One TV show.
Daniel.
Okay, let's say it's nice to be here today once more with Jerry and EJ. And I'm Agbebla Okwasi Daniel, founder of Nukusimi and Pensodo. Yeah.
And you're doing an outfit for your... I can see that. Because I can see Nukusime on your Lacoste. I don't like that. You can't come and do advert in my program. So let's continue. Let's go. We'll start with the first question, which is to know what is employment. I'll start with Daniel.
Okay, so employment is an art of engaging into a work or being employed by an organization or an individual contributing into production of goods or services. So that's what I see employment as here.
EJ.
Yeah, like he rightly said, the act of getting a job, okay, or being employed, okay, to work or dispense some sort of service you have as a person. Yeah, so. Yeah.
Well, employment is a broader term, but I think the main components are to do or perform an activity that gives you an income or generates money or an income for you. It can be through a service, it can be through representation, even for some people, and then at the end you get something as a reward or a form of payment from it. So that's what I'll put employment.
So that will take us to my second question for you guys, which is to know what is the biggest challenge faced by fresh graduates. That one I'll start with EJ.
She's fresh. She's fresh.
Yo, it's very scary. Okay, of course the biggest ambition of every child is to probably leave home, get schooled, and then graduate. But then most of us don't think, or we don't have that before thinking of, okay, what's up after school. So the biggest challenge currently now is me asking myself question like, okay, what next? Literally everybody is asking me that question. Like I'm not bluffing. Anyone that texts me be like, oh, congratulations, you've graduated, what next? And then you see me so dumbfounded. I'm like, okay, yeah, so what is the next thing? Do you get? So that, I think that's the first challenge. Okay, ascertaining to yourself what next. Then second of all, I would want to say is you trying your possible best to actually find yourself in the world, because currently we have job issues everywhere currently. So there's no job basically, or there are jobs, but then we probably don't fit in due to what we studied and the fact that the world is going into entrepreneurship. Do you understand? Most of us are not entrepreneurially skilled. We just went to school to study. We did theory, so practically we don't really have kind of like knowledge on how to defend ourselves. So that's the second challenge. How do we find ourselves, or where do we find ourselves in the world? So I think these are the two most solid things. You don't want to talk about finance, okay, because you're a fresh graduate, you've graduated from school. Okay, what next? Okay, where am I in the world, and then how am I able to sort out my financial challenges? So these are the three basic things I would want to say are the challenges we are facing currently.
Okay, I'll go with Jerry.
Well, I've been out of school for a very long time, so I may not be as fresh as what she will say, but I think the very first thing to me is the transition. You know, some people finish graduating, maybe they did a course. After some few months at home, they want to go back again because they have been in the school system for long. So that is all they could think of at that moment. And I'm not trying to say, furthering is wrong, but I think sometimes you need to get into a work life a bit before, if you want to continue, you should continue. Because all the knowledge you will amass from the school, if you are not able to exploit it, you may not have the knowledge or the extended knowledge or the know-how that you are supposed to have before. And to be honest, sometimes getting something to do after just graduating, it matures you or helps you get mature before you get into the workforce. So that transition between finishing school or graduating and getting into a workspace is one of the biggest decisions people have to make. The other thing I will also highlight is the fact that you may not be as well equipped. Some schools may not give you all the skills you need. That is why you need to get a job. Some schools may provide you with internship opportunities, industrial experiences that may help you to equip yourself a little bit before you get into the professional field. So that is also one part. And then to accentuate on what she said too, your skill set and the job market may not be matching. Either there's too much skill set, the job market is few or saturated, or everybody wants to be their own boss or create their own jobs. So there's too much job and not enough people to do it, or too much people to fill in the gap with the job market. So that's what I would say.
So Daniel.
So I can say Jerry and EJ have given most of the biggest example, but what I can add to it is the lack of experience. You know, as a new graduate, before you get a job they will ask you about experience. But where are you going to get that experience from? So I think this is the biggest challenge for fresh graduates. Before you get a job as a fresh graduate, you don't have the experience. They will say 3 years or 5 years or 4 years above, and you know, it is quite disturbing. And the main important thing also is we study different things in school, and the society is giving us another thing as work. So you find yourself in between, and it's not easy to cope in this situation.
People used to say that we used to further more in theories than practical. So when entering a job market is difficult for us as fresh graduates.
Our educational system varies. Because even in a particular country, what is being taught in a capital is not the same exactly in the towns and villages. So imagine I schooled in a town and I'm going to the city to work. There will be some spaces or gaps in terms of the knowledge I've acquired. I might have studied or learnt about computer, I've never seen one. So in as much as I have maybe the practical theory of it, because they might have drawn it on the board, brought some things that I press, but imagine I use a computer to learn in school that has never been on, and I'm seeing it on for the first time. There's a startlement in it. So definitely there's some issues in terms of how we acquired education, where you even acquire it, and a number of factors.
Okay, then my next question to you guys will be to know what are the challenges of starting a new job.
Well, I think he said something first about even getting the job. So we are just going to go on the basis that now you've gotten the job. I think the very first thing is, not the very first thing, but one of the things that came to my mind was, first of all, how am I going to find myself in this new culture of environment? Because imagine I did science in school. That was my senior high school and stuff. And then in order to continue, I went to university or polytechnic and I went to do computer science. It may still be science, but that is a specific aspect of computer science. And then I finished school and then I'm supposed to work in a pharmacy temporarily. You know, they may all be science, but they have branches on their own. So I'm going to first of all trying to figure out what paracetamol I've been taking long ago. Maybe now they will be telling me scientific names. Maybe I used to take one dose, but I didn't know it was wrong. Maybe I was supposed to take half or whatever. So it's going to be a new culture for me. And sometimes when we graduate fresh like that, like I said, the technical know-how may not be there. And sometimes we find it difficult to transition, as I already mentioned. So when you are not being told this and that, sometimes it becomes too much for you to assimilate. Because if you give the wrong dose to someone, you are culpable. That is just one of the many examples. So adapting to that new environment comes with a new learning. So sometimes you have to unlearn everything you did in school and all that to learn something new. And then you leave that job to go to a different job, you have to learn all over again. So
I had that experience before. When we were asked in school to go and do internship, I was looking for a television lounge. I thought it would be easy for me just to get a TV station and start working, start talking on TV and all that. But here was the case. I went to work with a telecommunication company. I know nothing about like what they do over there, but I had to do something to go and show to my school that I did internship.
It's part of the requirements.
I feel like it's very this theory and practical that school initiates cannot be overly emphasized. Yes. See, our school today, they are used to theories a lot, and we, the students, we are used to theory. I graduated with theory, literally. And I'm going to be very, let's be blunt. Do you understand? It's all theory. Do you get? At some point, you might be given assignments to go watch news, but it's still on theory. There was no base, or there was no point where we had to move down to the field to kind of practicalize everything we've learned. Now, that's number one. Two, he made mention of years of experience. I was talking to Mr. Jerry earlier about the fact that I was trying to fill in some LinkedIn stuff, and then I was seeing that in one of the prerequisites for you to get a job, as a fresh graduate, is you have to have 3 years experience. Where I want to get that from? Do you get? Where do I want to get 3 years experience? Now, I asked my HOD some time ago regarding this years of experience that is being demanded by
the job market.
The job market each time you're looking for job. And he said that for we, the students that are graduating, I think the experience is gotten from the years of service. That you as a student, after you're done, then you go for service. Now, imagine that you do not tell yourself you don't want to serve. You just want to move straight into the labor market, because of course you feel like you'll be wasting 1 year of your life. So how about I just start up something, and then you get a job, but they still ask you for years of service. So how do we do it? So this is basically, I think it's a challenge that institutions need to tackle, because it's a very big thing. I, as a person, like he made mention of the fact that you are done with school, you have to go and start learning one skill like that, random skill, as you did not study it in school. And then after you're done learning, let's say you finally get a job in your field, the field of study. When you eventually get that job, you discover that you've lost probably count of everything you were taught in school. Do you get? So it's a hassle for us, to be very honest.
And you know,
let's say EJ didn't go through that, because while in school you were doing something. So it's very easy for you to
not talk like that, though. Maybe people know.
In defense for the reason for sometimes those years of experience is that, imagine I'm going to pay you an amount of money. That is first. Secondly, whatever activity you do under my name, you are representing my company. That is second. And the third one is that whatever you are doing at that moment is also building you up to become someone. So all those factors may come in why it is required for some people. I feel like sometimes if the challenges don't come to us, we will not be forced to do certain things. Somebody can finish school and be at home until I find a job of what I have studied in school. Whereas they could be filling in a gap somewhere temporarily. I think almost everyone has gone through a process where they have to do something outside of their scope of study. It is just nature will show you the way. You just have to follow the way.
It's the same way easy for some people to just get a job right after graduation.
But you know, the thing is, quite disturbing. Let me put it this way: some decide to go and look for a job in a company, and some decide, because of the stress, the depression, running through offices, I will try and establish something for myself. And there is a big challenge there that you can never imagine. For instance, a young guy, you decide to learn a skill, like you said right now. Let me put painting, for instance, and you want to open a company. Opening a company in this country is not something small. If you decide to sell in a boutique, renting a boutique, and finishing the boutique, it requires a lot of money. And if you don't have that kind of money, it's not an easy thing. But like Jerry just put it out, you just need to go through the process, and one day all this will become a story behind you.
So talk to us more about your own case. How was it for you?
I used to tell Jerry that I was brought out from the street, so I'm a hard guy. You get me? So sometimes when I talk to people about the kind of things I do, you'll be shocked. because at a certain time I was riding Okada, nobody knew about it. In the evening I was doing security job, nobody knew about it. If you are looking for a room agent, I will be there. If you need someone to run services for you, I will be there. I learned how to do painting. You know, I did many kind of things, but at the end of the day I was doing those petty works to get money, to get myself established in what I really wanted to do. And once I discovered right now I'm getting that kind of money, I go into what I was trained for and what I wanted to do. And right now some days some people will call you, oh, we need security agent. It is an opportunity for me to find someone and earn commission.
Exactly.
You get it? So everything you go through at the end of the day, it brings bread on your table. So that has it.
Now, with regards to the same thing, I want to put out two things. In more of a professional setting, in an office setting, there are two major things. First of all, finding yourself within the work scope. Because if you are working for someone, you have to find yourself, what you can do and what you can do better. There are people already doing it before you came. If you are doing better, it's a challenge to them. If you are doing less too, it's also a challenge to yourself and who is paying you. The second one also is to meet expectations. You'll be asking yourself every time, am I doing it right? Is it how it's supposed to be? Can I bring something new? Those two things, especially when you are working for someone or under someone, is one of the toughest things.
Someone like Mr. Jerry, for example.
I'm not giving the example myself.
For example, EJ, you want to say something, eh?
Mr. Jerry. Mr. Jerry is a boss. You know, for those of you following me on Lifestyle Show, each time I want to talk, I always be like, he's a boss. And then you always stylishly come and be like, why are you always saying boss? People don't know, people don't really know the hassle I had to go through. Do you know, like the breeding? I call it breeding.
What I went through.
It was Mr. Jerry is teaching you. Oh my God, Charlie, you will learn. See, if you don't learn, you will learn the hard way. You will learn the hard way. So it's kind of like a hassle.
You can't be lazy with him. That's the
one thing is,
why would you go to school and be lazy?
Exactly. He made mention of you finding yourself in a workspace, but then it takes what's it called? It takes for someone that has patient heart to also be able to be very accommodating, as well as be able to teach you what he or she knows. Because most of us that are coming in, someone like me, when I was coming to actually learn here, he was the first person I met, more like the first man that I met. Now let's assume that he was very hard and he wasn't receptive. I probably would not be doing what I'm doing. So I believe I'm making my boss proud right now. You know, like that.
They want to crash me.
No, so the thing is, he's a disciplinarian, but he has his ways of teaching. That's just one thing. Now it takes for you also, the person learning, to be very patient to want to even learn. Because if you're not patient, you won't learn. That's one thing with him. He's kind of like someone that if you're ready to learn, he will teach you. But until you're ready to actually learn, you might end up not getting anything. Do you get? And he does not stress it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You know they stress
Thank you very much.
I'm not praising you.
But in the beginning, you not know that in the beginning.
Exactly.
In the beginning, you feel as if this guy doesn't love me. This guy doesn't want me to be here.
Exactly.
That feeling, that kind
it pains sometimes. It hurts because I mean there are times he has spoken to me and I started crying. But after I'm done crying, when you checkmate everything, when you checkmate everything he's taught you. I mean, if I begin to like look back to all the days I actually learned, I'll tell you the fact that it's been amazing. I'm telling you that I could actually talk the way I'm talking right now is because of this very man.
So you have that habit of making people cry.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly.
Because I also cried before. That's why I'm saying it.
Confessions.
So it's what it is.
Yeah. So I'll ask you, what is the biggest challenge you face when you think about your future career?
What are we asking?
Sometimes, I'll just go anyways. There's always this pressure. I feel it's like a checklist kind of pressure in the sense that people say you always have to know what you become in the next 2-3 years. I don't really believe in that policy to some extent. That he spoke about being a security guard here doing this year. Through all those things, he's meeting people. So he's building contact. He may not probably be aware of it at that moment, but he's building contact. Sometimes it is true that you meet someone that will fulfill you. Did you know you were going to become that thing? No. But in the same way, I feel it is always good to have at least a goal. Maybe today you are having a small shop or you are in front of the roadside doing carpentry. sewing shoes or whatever. The next time you have a small kiosk. The next time you have a big room, and maybe that is what I look at as goal. So at every stage there has to be an elevation. But when people think like you maybe when I want to go to school I have to be a doctor, I have to be. See, that's where I have issue with. So when it comes to career in the future, me, I always pray for what? Good health and life. So far as there's those two things, I believe miracles can happen.
Yeah.
Today I am here doing journalism. That wasn't probably what I thought I was going to be when I was 7 years old. Yeah. When I reached to, I had a different goal, because society also shapes sometimes how you think. Just don't be an aimless person, if I can use the word, or just don't be somebody who is swept by the wind. So it's, in as much as future goes, it's just one step at a time. People have all that they had. They just started. People finish graduating, excuse me to say, and they just pass away. Yeah. So all those future things you're talking about, what did they get to? There's a much higher power than what we think. That's what me I would say.
But you know something?
Yeah.
When I am there and I try to look into the future, you know, it is scary. And
yes.
Why am I saying so? I used to see big people. In the beginning, they were doing amazing in their business, and their dream is to achieve more. But at the end of the day, they got themselves into issues, and you know, they went bankrupt, and they have to start again. And this country, and let me put this way, like Africa, we do not have a system. So maybe you will be doing an activity right now, and tomorrow that activity won't be promising. So if you think too much about what you are doing today, willing it to become something great tomorrow, that may disappoint you. So what probably I do is I follow the system. When the system change position, you see me with Nukusime today, don't be surprised tomorrow you see me with another thing. Because I'm trying to be on track. Like when I see this country is moving towards this thing, I try to put myself in the same position. Because sometimes we do something year one, it will work for you. By the second year, the environment has changed. You'll be going into the depth without knowing. Before you wake up one day, everything is gone. Why, when you are going by the system, not doing long-term planning, you can just change and be on track any moment. So that's how I see the future. Anything can happen. I can get into politics. I can change occupation. You know, everything can happen.
It's true. It's very true.
So the main thing we get from this thing is that don't focus on one thing.
I think it shouldn't be in terms of meeting an expectation.
Yeah,
it's kind of scary.
It should be you.
Yeah.
It should be you.
It's kind of scary, because I remembered while I was growing up, my mom was like, what do you want to be? I remember telling my dad that day. No, it was my mom I told. I said I want to be a musician. I remember my father rebuked me for almost two terms. Yes, he kept cursing, and he said none of his child would be a musician. That kind of thing. So now, as time proceeded, I said, okay, I want to study. I want to be a doctor. Good. Now there's a promise already, so they are looking forward to that promise.
Exactly.
Do you get? So sometimes there's a pressure from home. Do you get? So it's scary when at the end of the day, when you are coming back, you're not coming back with that expectation.
I mean, the result.
Yeah, the result. It's very scary. So that's the fear, first of all. The fear of disappointment. Now, secondly, there's confusion. You're confused. After graduation, trust me, you are confused of what you want to do. As I am right now, there's so much in my mind to do that if you ask me, I begin to tell you this. The next question is, which one do you want to do? Do you get? Tell me the exact one. And me, I won't be specific, because I feel like I can do all of them.
You are open to the world.
Yeah, I'm open to everything. Do you get? But then you'll be like, okay, you're aimless. You don't know where you're going to. Do you get? And then lastly is stagnancy. There's that fear of being stagnant.
Yeah.
You are so scared and terrified. In fact, that is where the biggest of fear lies. That I am done with school and I am stagnant. That where you see me today, you should not see me there in like next year. Let's say by this time next year. So you see me pushing myself. So there's much fear. Like the fear is very big. So all of this combined, I feel, are the
But luckily for some people, even if they don't know what they want to do immediately, maybe your father owns a company, or like a family member, a friend that is already doing something. You want to partner with a person to start with, which is equally not easy though. So sometimes, even if you yourself, you don't have a path already laid, there could be those environments can give you a way to lean on for some time before like you said, you find yourself and then move.
Before I let this question go, there's this big advice, like more like, I think the reason why there's much of this fear is due to the fact that we don't have any skill. You know, I made mention of that earlier, because if we have anything, if I have handwork now, like I can make my hair, I won't be sitting here talking to you about employment. I don't need a job. I can literally employ you.
I mean, there are so many specs of what you said. Confidence can still make you have the skills. Yeah, exactly.
I know people with skills. The thing is, it's not always about the skills.
He made mention of something that, okay, there are people with skill, but the marketplace is not accommodating.
Even besides that, you as a person, no matter, sometimes we lack confidence.
Yes.
Either we have been told you can become, like, there's that confidence that is missing, or already you see your brother or sister doing it. So, you know, it is here that I came that I realized that in Ghana, well, in some places, but in Ghana, you can see 3-7 people selling tomatoes on the same line, and people will still come and buy. But here, I don't often see that. The moment somebody is selling rice in front of their house, somebody is here, there's always that tension or rivalry. It's not very common. So imagine that is the skill you have to cook, and because someone is already doing in front of your plate, you can't do it again. So realize the skill is there, but you cannot exploit it. You see, so aside the confidence within yourself too, there could be other factors even in your immediate environment that might hamper you from. So sometimes you have to be very notorious.
But why is it too hard for us to get a job, especially in our country?
I think, you know, getting a job in Togo precisely is not an easy thing, because, you know, the work available doesn't suit, you know, the people demanding the work. Like, you get plenty people coming out from the universities, plenty people opening businesses. You get me? Plenty people opening businesses. So at the same time, if you go to the business aspect, like, plenty people doing the same thing. So at the end of the day, like, the monetary aspect also is another thing. I'll give you an example. This country, it's like people don't know what to do unless they see you doing it. When you start selling rice and you are doing well, someone will say, hey, the rice business is moving, so the person too will start it. So when the person starts, and Togo is not a big country, Lomé is not a big space, so if normally in the area you were talking about, the area cannot take 2 sellers of rice, for instance, but 2 people are available there. That means the first person is not going to be selling the way she was selling earlier.
She has to innovate.
That's it. And when you come to those who go and seek job in companies and stuff, like, I read somewhere they were looking for 5 people in a week, and more than 1,000 people who will be available. Sometimes they will send you a WhatsApp message that they need someone here. You will find, if you are into many groups, you will find the same
post everywhere
in all the groups. So you get it. It's like many people are going in for the work, but the work is not that available. So that's where the hardship comes in here.
Me, I think the biggest thing is the bureaucracy and the red tapes. Just as an example, I had a friend who is coming from outside to come and shoot a document with an NGO here in Togo. And when they sent me the list of requirements for them to shoot, because it's their first time coming to shoot, we have 17 things enlisted just to come and shoot something for 30 minutes. I understand security protocols and the rest, but look at all those things you are supposed to provide before you can shoot. We are shooting somewhere probably next year, and we are starting the process now. So sometimes the bureaucracy, now aside that, maybe you have to go and see A, go and see B, go and see D. You have everything set for production. You go and see A is delaying, B has probably already granted, but without A and B you can't see C. So there's a lot of bureaucracy, and sometimes you are forced to pass corners. If you are caught, is another problem. You have to pay the penalty. If you are not caught, you are tagged as someone who is corrupt or whatever the situation is. So I think there's that one. And then the second thing too is, one thing I realized when I came in probably 2017 was that there is I don't know if I should say economic reforms. The right thing, maybe his business, for example, maybe he's the first to start that line of business. He will get, so he may be monopolizing on the prices in the market for some time. But the moment there's a competition, it can be healthy excuse me, I don't want to mention country, but there are certain products that come at cheaper prices that will make his business probably go down. People will start going for those prices. When he has found a way to re-innovate himself and come back again, you'll be surprised people will still stick to the other one, forgetting that this is even local based and they should be focusing more on that. So there's a number of aspects.
Another thing to add to it is, this popular saying, over familiarity brings insult.
Yes.
There's over familiarity with the employer, and then there's over familiarity with the employee. I'll use Nigeria as an instance. Nigerians, I think it's common with all countries. So they prefer to employ people from outside. When you see someone with white skin now, they will employ the person. Do you get?
Let me defend them.
No, don't defend.
Sometimes it's not the skin necessarily. It's because maybe the system at where they are coming from.
They feel like
equipped them. Yes. So let's not probably.
So you see, this is one thing. Jesus. So the system where they are coming from equipped them, okay? Yes. So we cannot equip ourselves here to employ ourselves. It's so bad. That's why I said over familiarity brings in. So we ourselves, we want to run outside because we feel like we've gotten too familiar with the people here and they won't give us job. Do you get? When it's true. And the employers on their own too, like he said, they feel like, okay, people outside are more skilled. That's why if you go outside and you get masters, like you studied outside, they haunt you. Do you get? To want to give you a job compared to someone that's
the
probably exactly.
But you see, there are some examples in this country that I can give. Like, we get some workplace in Togo here that our universities can provide the technicians they need. I talked with 3 Nigerians the last time. They were working on petroleum company in the port of Lomé. They say there are 3 Nigerians there. There's no one in Togo who know how to do this kind of things. The BB, the drink production firm here, right here, they have some engineers. They are all Nigerians because the technicians they use there, we don't have their department on the university. So probably they are going to bring people in. You see, Pia, we went and supplied some goods to them, and I realized that Indians are those who are brought in because they are good in producing the sewing machine stuffs and other things. Our people are not into it. So maybe before we talk about the aspect you raised right now, we should think about learning this kind of things and bringing it on so that when time comes, because when you take the income, it will be cheaper. They bring the outsiders and they pay their rent, they pay supplementary stuff for them.
Local person, they will not do all those things.
They will not do all these things for you.
That one too is there. And I think the other thing too is the transfer of skills and knowledge. You see, an Indian person can come to Togo, create his or her own company, be in line with all the regulations. You will do packaging, but when it comes to the product or the core of the business itself, you will only see Indians there. How many of us do it? Even in Togo, like he said, familiarity. I went to school. I had 2 teachers. They were twins. They say even in their shop, when they finish school, they go and sell in their shop. They pay even if they take biscuits. But somebody will say, but it's my father, it's my this, it's my that, it's my friend. He has a business. In as much as we can be friends or association members and stuff, if I bring a business to him, I can take commission or not. But the point is to bring the business to him. He should determine the price and everything. If he wants to give me an offer, fine. But I'll bring the thing to him and be debating on the price so that I can favor this person. Forgetting that the long run is business I'm spoiling for him. See, that's something people don't understand.
I have an experience about
if he wants to do it for me at a good price, that is fine. But the moment I bring someone to him, it becomes a business interaction or partnership with the person.
You see the Lebanese selling the clothes in Asigame. We used to take foreigners to the market to buy things. When you take a foreigner to a Togolese who own a shop, after the person has bought something like 1 million CFA, the person will be discussing with you a very long time before giving you 2,000 CFA. But see what, when you go, you take the person to the Lebanese shop, the Lebanese will give you like 20k and tell you, when you bring any other person, I'm going to raise the bar. So for me, when somebody need to buy clothes right now, I don't go to Togolese. I go to Lebanese because I know when I go to Lebanese will give me more money than my own brother selling. You see,
time is not in our favor. If you have any last word or last thing you want to say before we close. this chapter of the youth cycle?
Well, I feel like this topic is a bit related. Do you get back?
Fresh,
Find yourself in the topic.
Like, do you get? Okay, so I made mention earlier, for we that just freshly graduated, I feel like to encourage ourselves, let's just try as much as possible to learn skills. It's really going to help, because there's a whole lot of recommendation in the labor market currently that we probably may not meet now. We may meet it later, but considering the urgency of the financial situation of every graduate, we may not meet it at the moment. So skills is therefore required. And then I would also want to tip in some words to our Nigerian to our institutions. I would really encourage for entrepreneurship courses. It's really going to help, because it hurts really that after you're done with school you have to go and start learning skills. So how about I learn it through my years of study in university? So when I'm not doing this, I'm rather doing this. So I feel like this culture it's been adopted, not like it's not being practiced. Yeah, entrepreneurship courses, but I feel like it should be hammered on more. Yeah, it should become more encouraged. Students should learn it more. That way it would help reduce the number of students in labor market and also increase employment opportunities. Do you understand? All right, so yeah, that's it.
Thank you, EJ.
You're welcome.
Okay, so me, what I always say is confidence. I always say it's better to be overconfident than underconfident, because being over probably give you more guts than when you are underconfident. And also, when you see an opportunity, whether it goes in line with what you learned or whatever, give it a try. What I believe is that whatever you are doing, whether a truck push or whatever, you meet someone.
Yeah.
You are creating networks. Not everyone can be rich. That is why somebody has to be rich in order to give some of those ones to other people. And also, when it comes to graduation, you are not compelled to meet anybody's standard by having to become this and that person in the future. The key thing is, don't be lazy, don't be aimless. Have something to do, and at that thing you are doing at every stage, put one on top of it and notch, and then you'll become successful.
Sure. Thank you very much, Mr. Jerry.
Okay, so my last word to the crew will be that, we are in a system that everybody is complaining, and we are in a gambling system. Like, what you put in, you don't know whether you are going to harvest or you are going to lose it. But the good thing and the most important is qu'occupe try. So if you are a youth right now, you get yourself into something not knowing how the outcome will be, but you try to work things out so that the decision you put down will be successful for you. And by the grace, I think everything is gonna be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much to Daniel, Jerry, and EJ.
You're welcome.
And that was it for the first episode of the Youth Cycle. Don't stay home. Be there and thinking about what to do. At least learn something small and make sure you always put in a lot of effort, and one day it will pay. Like Jerry said, the grace of the Lord, the grace of God. So always try to do something. Take good care of yourself. Bye bye, till we meet again next week.